the start of the movie's narrative, we are informed that a virus called Rage has spread throughout the city, as a result of which people are turning into zombies and killing and eating one another. Then, a tiny home where 6 individuals were protected from the zombie virus is presented to us. Among them were Don, his wife Alice, an elderly couple, and 2 other individuals. Alice was preparing some food with what was left over in that home. Due to the fact that he had sent his kids on a school vacation to France, Don was really saddened to witness the situation outside. Actually, the same city, Britain, experienced a viral outbreak. Don's kids were protected from the virus because of this. Everyone was seated at the meal table at this location. Their home was completely in the dark. There was no noise of any type, and nobody spoke to anyone else. Then a loud knocking sound comes from inside his residence. He begs you to allow him in, to open the door, and to save him. Actually, this was a 10-year-old boy's voice. Alice requests that we open the door and invite the youngster inside after she overhears the child's voice. We observe when they open the door. They had merely created darkness inside their home because it was already afternoon and no zombies could see them. The youngster is now brought inside and given food. When questioned, the youngster claims, "My parents have turned into zombies and are after me. I was going to be eaten by them." Don queries the attendance figure. He talks a lot. The girl started peeping outside because she was so terrified of Don and the other 2 people. She could hear a large number of zombies approaching her from a distance. Then, out of nowhere, a zombie attacks that boy straight. There were numerous zombies around, and they all attempted to enter. To save that youngster, Alice was ascending. Additionally, Don follows suit. He repeatedly tells Alice to abandon the child because we need to flee. She, however, disregards Don's advice. That elderly couple was sheltering outdoors in another residence. However, they too were unable to flee the undead. After that, there were a number of zombies in the area of the room where Alice was with the infant. Don was in the adjacent space. He commands Alice to turn toward him and come to him. However, she was unable to compete with the zombies in the middle due to their sheer number. Don then shut his door after observing this. He kept getting calls from Alice. "Dawn, I need your aid." However, Dawn shut the door from the opposite side and fled via the other door. Many more hungry zombies were advancing on him from behind him. When Alice's voice quit offering assistance, we see Alice. Dawn was sobbing and fleeing in shame over having abandoned his wife, Alice, and failing to assist her. He continues and discovers the youngster who was living with them at home in the pond. While rowing the boat, he quickly plunges into the water. That girl was also captured by the zombies, who killed her. Only Dawn remained, who was seated in the boat and moving. A month later, the scenario is presented to us, and it is implied that the zombies are slowly starving to death. This city was now under the authority of the armed force. She made an effort to maintain control. The sniper squad member Sergeant Doyle is then displayed to us. He had to use his gun to kill the zombies as soon as he came across them. The troops also helped save Dawn. In this manner, 6 months had passed. At this point, there weren't many zombies anywhere. We are also shown a doctor who was researching this virus in the interim. Now, the army program to bring the people who were stranded in other cities has begun. They return home. Everyone was still required to remain outside of their homes in the safe zone. There were approximately 100 persons who'd returned to their city, Britain, including the doctor who was under the supervision of the U.S. Army force. They also gave birth to Dawn's kids. The doctor becomes concerned when she sees the kids return, since she was considering how to care for them. When the doctor examines Dawn's son, she discovers that his eyes had 2 colors, meaning that half of them were one color and the other half was another. "Do you have someone else's eyes in your family?" the doctor queries of him. "Yes, according to Dawn's son, that is, Alice, my mother's eyes were blue." Dawn was ecstatic when he finally met his kids. He was still residing and working with the army in this protected zone. He brings his youngster to the location of his former residence for this reason. He also shares with his kids what occurred to his mother, Alice, in that episode. Dawn's son was dreaming of his mother while he slept. He suspects he may be forgetting his mother's face. When Dawn leaves for work in the morning, his kids silently fled the safe area and sprinted all the way home so that he can photograph his mother. The two kids' escape from the safe zone is then discovered by the soldiers as well. However, they had already arrived home together. Don's son was hearing strange noises coming from the top floor of his home. He looks up and sees his mother standing there. Alice, who Don had abandoned in the middle of the undead, comes to mind. Don's son gave his mother a hug. He feels agony because of this. Both of the siblings see that an army unit has arrived to escort them back to the safe area when they step outside of their house. There, quarantine was maintained for all three. Alice is restrained and housed in the lab. The physician examines her blood. She was interested in learning if Alice had contracted the zombie infection. Then they learn that Alice had the disease. Her immunity, however, was so strong that she was unaffected by the zombie virus. She hadn't yet turned into a zombie because of this, but other people might have contracted HIV from her blood or for any other reason. In other words, if someone stayed with her, he would turn into a zombie. The army general decides to murder the doctor after hearing all of this, considering that he believed Alice might pose a threat to everyone, so that Alice doesn't bring harm to anyone else. However, the doctor informs the general that Alice is substantially different in terms of her appearance, immunity, and genes. Her blood can be used to produce a vaccine. Don now rushes to his children after learning that his wife Alice is still alive and about all of this. He was upset with him, though. He claims that, as you were saying, Dad, Mom has passed away and turned into a zombie. How is she still alive? Hearing his children scream terrified Don a lot. He only knew the real reason he had left Alice, and that was the truth. He goes to Alice first and begs her forgiveness while crying. He now trembles and cries as soon as he approaches her a tiny bit, and overnight changed into a zombie. Upon observing his condition, Alice cries out for assistance. But now he also murders him in a perilous manner. Then he walks outside and assaults the soldiers. The doctor grabbed Don's kids and sprinted for the safety zone. However, Don had also approached the protected area. He then begins cracking the door on the other side after hearing the cries of the people. When Don's kid notices him, he flees. He went and took refuge in an air vent. People could be heard screaming from below. When Don killed them, they became zombies. Then, those who were transforming into zombies began transforming others into zombies. Chaos reigned everywhere. Everyone wanted to flee this place for their lives. The snipers are then informed as well. However, it was quite challenging for them to distinguish between zombies and non-zombies. The command to execute everyone is then given to each of them. He feels really odd after hearing this, the sniper dial that we first saw at the start of the story. He had to help people rather than murder them in order to save them. When he notices that Don's son is being approached by a zombie, he shoots and kills the boy. But because he didn't murder Don's son, he abandons his duties. Don's son was taken to his extremely dark room by a man. He ran into his sister and the physician there. In addition to them, there were many other persons present. When she looks outside, the elderly woman is horrified and asks, "Why are they killing everyone?" The dial then signals that everyone should leave from this location as it was not secure to do so. When everyone starts to leave from here, the army opens fire on them as well, killing the elderly woman. The dial was with the doctor and Don's kids. The dial then receives a call from an army-affiliated pal who owns a helicopter. He declares, "Look, soon the entire city will be ordered to fly with a bomb. I'll save you if you follow me to the place I'm sending you and meet me there." They all now emerge through a tunnel. Then a huge explosion occurred. All of the zombies or survivors in the safe zone had been destroyed by the army. The doctor and the youngster flee on the dial. They'd all traveled to the location that his acquaintance had described. Then a chopper from the friend of the dial arrives. He signals to the dial that some surviving zombies are pursuing you. When the dial hears this, it instructs the doctor and the kids to hide. His companion remarks, "Look, dial, I have been told to take only you, as he notices so many people. The army will kill me as well if I take any living civilian in the name of defending the city." However, he does not travel alone with the dial. He desired to assist everyone. He sends him alone from there because of this. Then a large number of zombies appeared behind them. As they approach the city, they run. The army had placed deadly gas in the city to kill the undead. The result was that the average person could not breathe there. They leave and take cover in a car to save him. All of the zombies began to surround and assault their car at this point. However, the gas causes the zombies to perish there. Additionally, there were soldiers coming from behind to exterminate everyone present. Both the doctor's car and the dial were having trouble starting. The dial then emerges from the vehicle and begins to pull the vehicle. But the troops saw him as having arrived. Additionally, the army kills him by assuming he is diseased. The doctor had driven the car, reached the tunnel, and had saved the kids. However, he discovers Don's zombie when he arrives. He had also murdered the local doctor. Don's daughter and son also divorce in the interim. Don had beaten up his own child. However, his son shared Era's strength as well. He also does not become a zombie as a result of this. For this reason, Don's daughter arrives and shoots her own father in the chest. She also cries a lot. These two siblings had arrived at the stadium, where the friend of the same dial, who owned a helicopter, arrives. He considers whether or not to intervene to save those kids as he looks at them. He may not be infected, yet he still manages to save them. Additionally, he had removed his helicopter from Britain. The view of the city is displayed to us. Then, after 28 days, we observe, where the last of the zombies had entered Paris through a tunnel. What happened to Don's daughter and son? What happened to them? This was not disclosed to us. With this, the plot of this film likewise comes to an end. I appreciate your time.